When a rich girl grabs a cleaner's hair, she discovers a touching truth that changes everything. Ava Morton had it all: money, a sleek black Benz, and friends who followed her like moths to a flame. From the outside, the world saw a picture-perfect high school senior with a dream scholarship to one of the best schools in the country. But deep down, her heart felt like an empty treasure chest, as if the more wealth she amassed, the less fulfilled she became. On a sunny Saturday, she found herself at the local community center, a place she usually ignored, wrapped in thoughts about her next social event rather than the reality unfolding around her. As Ava rifled through dusty supplies, her mind drifted, until a sudden tug pulled her back. Distracted, she had inadvertently pulled a long, dark braid hair that belonged to Mia. A gasp escaped Ava's lips as she looked down. Mia, a resolute single mother, brushed the hair off her shoulder and locked eyes with Ava. Irritation flickered over her face like a storm cloud. "Can I help you?" she asked, voice steady, but a hint of disbelief echoed in her words. Awkwardness thickened the air. Ava's heart raced both from embarrassment and a newfound curiosity. In their initial moments of conversation, Mia's story spilled like an open book: long shifts, 2 children, and dreams so fragile they seemed to flutter away with every unfair twist life threw her way. Ava felt a tight knot in her throat as she listened, her world shifting on its axis. "Before we continue, I need to tell you something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to their system and many people are missing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, click the bell and select all notifications so you don't miss future videos. And if you can leave a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen." Now let's continue. Engaging with Mia was like stepping onto foreign soil. Ava learned about the hurdles and the frustrations of finding childcare, the weight of bills pressing down at midnight, and the exhaustion that painted shadows beneath Mia's eyes. Who would have thought that the untold stories swirling around her, invisible in their struggles, would reach Ava's heart like a spear? Each revelation shattered the barriers of her privilege, leaving her gasping for breath. As their connection deepened, an idea burst forth: a tutoring program designed for kids like Mia's who barely scraped by, locked away from potential. This was no small plan, and Ava felt a fire ignite within her. She acknowledged her privilege, she had to do something to help, but the more she pushed for change, the louder the whispers of resistance grew. Classmates scoffed or outright ridiculed her desire to advocate for community change. Old biases resurfaced, jarring Ava from her comfortable existence. As friendships frayed and tensions mounted, she felt the weight of expectations threatening to bury her. In the growing bonding with Mia, Ava faced a crossroads rising from the ashes of her previous life. What had once been taken for granted became the very heart of her internal battle: responsibility versus self-interest. As Mia and Ava navigated each hurdle together, they both yearned to bridge a divide they had previously overlooked. Yet, just when the tutoring program promised to uplift spirits, disaster struck at the center. An incident shrouded in chaos sent their plans spiraling into uncertainty. As Ava watched old ideals clashing with her fresh revelations, a chilling question loomed: would she risk everything she claimed to cherish to stand by Mia's side? Could one girl make a dent in the unyielding wall of class disparity, or was the hope for change merely a fleeting dream in a divided society? Ava froze, her heart pounding as she watched the community center reverberate with cries of confusion. It was as if the air itself had thickened, turning the room into a claustrophobic trap. She glanced at Mia, whose face had turned ghostly pale, eyes wide with panic. Disappointment washed over Ava, the tentative momentum of their tutoring program hanging by a thread. The previous afternoon, the center had buzzed with excitement, children's laughter ringing out. But this chaos was different. It was instigated by an unexpected fire alarm, the harsh shriek sending everyone into a wild stampede for the exits. Ava tried to collect herself, turning to Mia, but their plan, their dream of making a real difference, crashed down amidst the panic, shattering like glass. "Stay close!" Mia shouted, grabbing Ava's arm, urgency coursing through her voice. They navigated through the jostling crowd, bodies pushing against each other in a desperate rush towards the door. As they reached the exit, the sight of the blazing sun felt almost unreal compared to the chaos behind them. Something gnawed at Ava's insides. This environment, this community that was estranged from her lavish life, was suddenly everything she wanted to dedicate herself to. "Are you okay?" Mia asked, concern etching into her features, pulling Ava from her trance. "Yeah, I'm fine, I just know, I'm not fine. This can't happen, not after everything we've worked for," Ava breathed, her voice trembling with frustration. Mia's grip tightened. "We can't let this stop us. We need to talk to the community board right away, make sure this doesn't affect our program." Ava nodded, determination sparking anew, but internally, doubt coiled around her heart. What if this was just the first of many obstacles? The days that followed became a mixed blur of meetings, tears, and raised voices. Ava poured every ounce of her energy into the tutoring program, fighting against slander encircling her. She was termed a welfare princess, mocked for her camaraderie with Mia, and yet, every degrading comment only fueled her commitment. And every time she felt the sting of loneliness, she sought solace in Mia's strength. On a particularly intense afternoon, while unpacking supplies, Ava overheard snippets of conversation between some classmates. "Why is she wasting her time? You can't fix poverty with wishes. It's pathetic." Her chest tightened. Would they ever understand? She found herself praying for a breakthrough, something to validate her fight against the judgment. But in the midst of this turmoil, excitement crackled like static in the air when community members finally gathered at the center for a meeting to discuss the aftermath of the fire. Ava and Mia positioned themselves nervously in front of a mix of faces, some familiar and others unknown. There was Steve, the community leader, nodding with acknowledgement, yet the tension was palpable. Would the passion they had built translate into real support? "Thank you all for coming," Steve began. "We've had our setbacks, but we need to rally together and ensure our services, especially for the kids." Suddenly, a heavy, booming voice called from the back, cutting through the anticipation. "And what about the ones that can't get out in time? How can we trust this place with our children?" Gasps echoed. Ava felt a rush of blood drain from her face, her skin prickling. Was this a threat to their hope or a challenge they had to overcome? Ava looked at Mia, who seemed unfazed, her determination solidifying. In that moment, Ava could feel the weight of many eyes narrowing on one singular question: could they turn this storm into a tailwind? "What if I could get someone to back us up?" Ava blurted out, the words tumbling from her mouth before she knew it. "Financial help? Support?" But no sooner had she spoken than her heart dropped. What would it cost her? Would she have to betray her principles to earn this trust? "Who?" someone yelled, eyebrows raised in suspicion. Ava gulped, realizing the level of scrutiny now focused solely on her. Could she truly rise to this challenge? Would the cost of support crush her or elevate her? "Maybe," she replied, steeling herself, "we need to bring in the people who once ignored us." The room fell silent. Could they really? As the tension hung, an unexpected voice broke the silence. "And who would you suggest, Ava?" All eyes were now on her. The air was thick with unanswered questions and fear. In that moment, she realized she had stepped into a realm where change required both courage and sacrifice. Would she be ready to make that sacrifice? The silence was deafening as anticipation built around Ava, each heartbeat echoing a battle within her, a battle of desire against consequences. What would happen next? Ava's mind raced. She felt exposed, like a solitary flame in the vast darkness of doubt surrounding her. The weight of the room pressed down on her, suffocating her courage. What did she want? A way to validate her mission? A chance to prove everyone wrong? Yet the names of potential supporters flickered in her mind like fireflies mischievously teasing her resolve. Maybe she began slowly, her voice wavering. "We could reach out to the local businesses. The ones that thrive on this community while ignoring it at the same time." Murmurs rippled through the crowd. Fear and curiosity entwined. "Like who?" Another voice shot back, heavy with skepticism. Ava glanced at Mia for support, but the flicker of doubt in Mia's eyes made her heart sink. This was real now. She couldn't hide behind her dreams any longer. She had stepped forward where others hesitated, but the risk of failure loomed large. I'm thinking about the coffee shop on Main Street. The one that's always packed but doesn't hire from our neighborhood, she blurted out, surprising even herself. The name hung in the air, heavy with implications. Really? You want us to go to a bunch of rich owners who just want to profit? A woman from the back challenged. The crowd tensed, feeling the critical weight of those words. Ava swallowed hard, her mouth dry. If we can show them how they can benefit from actually investing in us, our program could gain traction. It could prove that we're serious. She's right, Mia chimed in, her eyes steadying Ava's shaking confidence. They have the resources, the influence. If we can just get them to see the value we bring. Ava's pulse raced as she felt the rhythm of her own heart sync with their rising expectations. Could they really turn the tide? Would local businesses stand behind the community's collective strength? But in the corners of her mind, a gnawing doubt persisted. The kind of doubt that crept in, whispering fears of betrayal and loss. She understood that to play this game, she may have to tread a very thin line between idealism and cynicism, between altruism and self-serving interests. Suddenly, Steve broke through their contemplation. I'm willing to support you, but you'll need more than just the idea to convince them. You need a compelling story. His gaze softened, but his words were sharp, underscoring the reality of their task. A story, Ava repeated, the word hanging heavily between them. A story that connects. What about the kids? The ones we're trying to help. Bring them in, show their struggles and successes, Mia suggested, her voice rising with newfound hope. Yes. We can collect testimonials. Show them what's at stake. Ava felt a surge of adrenaline. They could weave a narrative that pulled at heartstrings while showcasing the community's potential, but then, darkness flickered in the back of Ava's mind, the treacherous question looming over them. What if these businesses turned their backs? What if this all backfired? The weight of her decision crashed back down as uncertainty metamorphosed into a tight ball in her stomach. Do you think they'll listen? Came a timid query from someone in the audience. What if we just fail? The sudden barrage of doubt ricocheted against her resolve. Faces of children longing for a brighter future flashed vividly in her mind, their wide eyes full of hope. Was she really going to let their dreams wither because she was afraid? I don't want to fail, Ava finally said, her voice steady. But if we don't try, what's the alternative? We need to give it a shot. An unexpected round of applause broke out, reverberating through the community center. Ava's heart swelled as she felt their support, but that flutter of confidence was quickly overshadowed by the instinctive fear of breaking promises. All right, Steve called out, no longer pressing the heaviness of doubt but rather rallying the group toward action. Let's get to work. Ava, Mia, let's come up with a plan. One that's real, something they can't turn away from. The meeting wrapped up fervor, and as members began to leave, Ava lingered, deep in thought. Mia turned to her, a glimmer of pride in her eyes. You did good. This could really work. Ava smiled, but her gaze drifted, lost in the responsibilities that weighed her down. Could she really bear the burden if things didn't go as planned? Just as she turned to walk away, something caught her attention at the side of the center. A figure stood stiff, eyes darting nervously, an elderly woman clutching a worn bag, watching the bustle. The woman's expression stirred something deep within Ava, a tug at her heart. What was her story? Before she could overthink, Ava approached her, ready to listen. But as she got closer, the woman turned, revealing a familiar, haunting look in her eye, the look of someone who carried the weight of decisions made long ago. Ava's breath hitched. Could this woman have answers she desperately needed, or would she only deepen the doubts that already plagued her? The question now lingered in the air: was this moment an opportunity for clarity, or yet another twist in the road ahead? Ava stood frozen, caught in the gaze of the elderly woman, a whirlwind of emotions swirling within her. This stranger wore a weathered coat, her skin lined with stories written by time and hardship. Ava's heart raced with each labored breath the woman took, and an inexplicable urge to know more tugged at her. "Excuse me," Ava began, her voice barely above a whisper. "I couldn't help but notice you seem like you have something important to share." The woman hesitated, her eyes clouded with unfathomable depths of sorrow and wisdom. For a moment, the air was thick with unspoken truths. "You're involved in that community project, aren't you?" She finally managed, her voice quivering on the edge of memories long buried. "Yes," Ava replied, emboldened by the woman's inquiry. "We're hoping to bring meaningful change. Your voice could help us." A flicker of recognition crossed the woman's face, followed by a tightening of her lips. "Change, you say? That's a heavy word. It means something different to everyone. What did it mean to you?" Ava asked, stepping closer. She felt a magnetic pull toward this woman, a yearning to understand a piece of her past. The woman took a deep breath, her posture easing slightly. "Years ago, I was like you. Hopeful. Passionate. I tried to rally people for a cause, but nothing changed. It takes more than dreams, it takes a fight against the pain of reality." Her voice trembled with urgency, echoing with memories of disappointment. "What happened?" Ava leaned in, searching for lessons hidden beneath the surface. "They listened at first. They came to meetings, like you all did." She paused, her brow furrowed. "And then they left, just like the tide recedes. I put my heart into it, pouring my soul into a community that didn't stand behind me when it was time to act." Ava's stomach twisted, the woman's words resonated with haunting clarity. "But you're here now. There must be something left, some hope." The woman's gaze turned distant, as if staring through the wall and into her own past. "Hope is fragile, child. It can be snuffed out so easily. The ones who do listen, who promise change, are they truly committed, or just seeking the applause of the crowd?" The doubt hung like an omnipresent fog, and Ava's heart raced with rising urgency. "You could help me tell your story," she continued, desperate for the connection they were building. "Let us show them that it matters." With a pained smile, the woman shook her head. "It's not my story that needs to be told. It's theirs." Her voice crackled with emotion as she pointed back toward the children playing outside the community center. "Find their voices, lift them up. They deserve to fill the silence with truths that matter." Ava felt a rush of determination flow through her. "I will. I promise." But as she turned to lead the woman back into the heart of the center, the figure suddenly stiffened. The woman gasped, her fingers trembling as she clutched the bag even tighter. "Wait. I almost forgot. You need to know there are forces at play you don't quite understand. Things aren't as straightforward as they seem." Fear prickled at the back of Ava's mind. "What do you mean?" "I can't explain here, too many eyes." The woman glanced around nervously, then lowered her voice to a whisper. "Just be careful who you ask for help. Not everyone wants the same change." Before Ava could respond, the woman turned abruptly, her steps quickened as she retreated into the gathering dusk, leaving Ava breathless and churning with questions. What forces?" Ava murmured to herself, the unease slithering through her veins like a warning. Mia arrived beside her, concern etched on her face. "What just happened? You look pale." "There is something more going on, we need to move quickly," Ava replied, the weight of uncertainty growing heavier. With a renewed sense of purpose, they set to work, plotting their next step. But beneath her resolve, a persistent question lingered in Ava's mind: could they truly navigate the labyrinth of local politics, the fears and hidden motivations of the business elite? As they gathered their materials, a sudden chill swept through the center, and Ava noticed a shadow slip across the window, someone watching, a watcher in the dark, waiting to see if she would fail, or if she would triumph. The stakes had shifted, and with it, the game had become fierce. What awaited them in the shadows? Who else was watching, and what secrets would be unveiled? Ava's heart thudded painfully in her chest as the last words hung in the cramped room, fading into a heavy silence. Her resolve mixed with a growing sensation of dread. Who had been watching her? And more importantly, why? Mia's frown deepened, her eyes flickering toward the window. We should check the perimeter. I don't like this. They crept over to the glass, and Ava squinted into the dimming light. The street beyond was quiet, but in the distance, shadows danced in the flickering streetlights, almost taunting them. She felt exposed, as if they were the only ones in a world turned cold. We can't let fear ground us, Ava said, forcing confidence despite the tremor in her voice. We need to connect with the community. Find those kids. Mia nodded cautiously but kept glancing for movement. Maybe the elderly woman can help us. She seems to know something. Ava shivered at the thought. The woman's parting words echoed louder in her mind, like a warning siren. Beneath that frail exterior lay layers of wisdom and fear. What if the forces she spoke of reached deeper than they could imagine? Just then, the door swung open, revealing Leo, their project partner, his face flushed with urgency. You guys. You won't believe it. He stepped in, stark against the pale walls. I just heard rumors flowing through the local council. There might be some pushback against us, something big looming. What kind of pushback? Ava asked urgently, her stomach twisting. Leo glanced around nervously, lowering his voice. They're dragged into some real estate deal that puts new development on the site where the center stands. The council doesn't want us messing with their plans, too much at stake for them. Ava felt the air leave her lungs. Are you serious? They can't just bulldoze everything we're fighting for. They can if no one backs up our claims, Leo replied, glancing over his shoulder. It's all about funding and greed, and they have the clout to make it happen swiftly. We need to rally support fast. Mia shifted anxiously. But how? Ava squared her shoulders, channeling the urgency blooming within her. We reach out to the community. We unearth the truth, just like the woman said. Every small voice matters, those kids, their stories, everyone who believes in change. Suddenly, a loud crash outside jolted them back to the present. They rushed to the window again, heart pounding. A group of kids had gathered, pointing and shouting near the playground. It's the kids! Ava shouted, determination flaring. But then she noticed they weren't pointing at the swings or slides. A figure lurked at the edge of the playground, a shadow dark against the evening sky. Who is that? Mia gasped, her fingers twitching as she squeezed Ava's arm. The figure paused, then turned slightly. A chill raced down Ava's spine as she thought she recognized the outline. It's someone from the local council. What are they doing there? Leo's voice thickened with tension as he moved closer, craning to get a better look. We need to find out, Ava said, and before anyone could protest, she grabbed her bag and headed for the door. Wait! Mia called, but Ava was already out and moving with purpose, the chill of the evening biting at her skin. She wasn't going to let this moment slip away. She needed to confront the shadow, to unveil the truth. The kids scattered at the sudden approach, leaving only the figure lingering, and Ava's breath hitched. What if the council member had been watching them all along, waiting for just this moment to shut them down? Hey! Ava shouted, her voice cutting through the quiet. The figure turned, the face obscured in the dark, but the eyes glinted back, flickering with too many hidden meanings. Ava felt her heart race. The stakes were higher now than ever. What would happen when she closed the distance? Would the truth reveal itself, or would secrets of a darker nature emerge? She took a step forward, and the figure began to slip away. Stop! She yelled, chasing after the flickering shadow. I need answers. But as the figure vanished into the night, doubt tugged at her. Who? Were they really? And what repercussions lay ahead if she exposed the truth? Frantic and breathless, Ava turned back to Mia and Leo, questions swirling in her mind. We have to be ready for anything, but will we be strong enough to fight whatever comes next? As the moon slipped behind the clouds, an unsettling thought dawned: what if the forces the elderly woman spoke of were closer than they dared to believe? Ava stopped, chest heaving, and scanned the now empty playground. The echoes of children's laughter faded into an unsettling quiet, replaced by the sound of her own frantic heartbeat. The shadows of the trees looked as though they were reaching out with gnarled fingers, ready to pull her into their depths. What just happened? She breathed, grappling with the realization that the figure might hold the answers they had been searching for. Did you see their face? Mia asked, wide-eyed. Her voice was tremulous with unease. What do we do now? We need to retrace our steps, Ava suggested, a flicker of urgency igniting in her. Remember what the woman said. There are secrets buried deep. We can't let this go. Leo frowned, his brow furrowing in concern. But how do we do that? Who would even want to talk to us now? The council is gonna be on high alert. They saw you chasing that figure. Ava shook her head, frustration bubbling up. We don't wait for them. We go to the woman. She knows something we can't ignore that. She might have seen more. Turning on her heel, she felt a renewed determination. Was it foolish? Maybe. But every fiber in her screamed to seek out the truth. She could almost feel the weight of the town pressing down on her shoulders. They were not just fighting for a building, it was the lives of the children and the community that mattered. They sprinted back to where the elderly woman lived, the night thickening around them. An unsettling atmosphere clung to the air, and each step felt like walking deeper into the belly of a beast. Shadows broke and flickered like the frantic pulse of her racing heart. As they reached the woman's house, the door creaked open slowly, revealing a face lined with age and wisdom. You've returned, the woman said, her eyes narrowing slightly as she gauged their expressions. Ava stepped forward. We saw someone from the council. They were lurking in the playground, and now I'm afraid they might target us. You said there were forces at work. What did you mean? The woman's gaze turned serious, her voice dropping to a whisper. There are strings being pulled by powerful hands. They do not want the truth unearthed. If they believe you threaten their plans, expect retaliation. You must tread carefully. Mia glanced nervously toward the street, feeling the urgency tighten in her throat. But if we don't stand up for what's right, who will? The woman nodded, eyes sparkling with a mix of hope and weariness. And sometimes what's done in shadows can bring forth the greatest light. But be prepared, child, darkness will fight back. Suddenly, a loud crash echoed from the alley behind the house, causing all three to jump. It sounded like a dumpster being thrown. Ava's heart stopped. What was that? The woman's expression hardened. They don't want you getting any closer. You must decide, will you confront what lies ahead or retreat into the darkness that wants to swallow this place whole? Before Ava could respond, they heard hurried footsteps approaching. Panic surged through her veins. We need to get out of here. They darted through the back door just as two figures, hooded and menacing, emerged from the shadows, their voices low and angry. They can't be far. Find them. Breathless, Ava led Mia and Leo around the side of the house and into the dimly lit alley. They pressed into the darkness, a sense of dread building in the pit of her stomach. They had taken a step closer to understanding, but now the chase was on. What's next? Leo whispered, glancing over his shoulder. Ava took a deep breath, her resolve hardening. We've drawn their attention. But that just means we're getting closer to the truth. We can't turn back now. We will find out what they're hiding, but we need to stick together. Just as they turned onto a deserted street, a piercing scream broke the silence, a child's voice, cutting through the night like a knife. Ava's heart plummeted. That sounded like one of the kids. They exchanged glances, knowing this was more than just a coincidence. Whatever darkness was at play had reached a breaking point. Let's go. Ava shouted, and they tore down the street, ready to face whatever awaited them, knowing that time was desperately slipping away. What they found next would change everything and maybe, just maybe, be the key to all the secrets that lay in the shadows. The thrill of the chase was just the beginning. What secrets would be unveiled in the confrontation with darkness? As they ran, the pavement felt unforgiving under their sneakers, and the humid air pressed in, thick with dread. Ava's senses sharpened. The child's scream echoed in her mind, urging her forward. "This way!" she yelled, instinctively veering left down a narrow alley that she hoped would lead to the source of the sound. The alley was dimly lit by flickering streetlights, casting long, eerie shadows that seemed to stretch toward them, like dark hands reaching out. Mia stumbled slightly, but Leo steadied her with a quick grip, a silent acknowledgement of their shared fear. "Do you think it's just a prank?" Mia asked, her voice wavering, though her feet kept moving. "Could be," Leo responded tersely, scanning the alley for any sign of danger. "But we can't take that chance. We've got to see if it's real." Ava's heart raced. They crossed an old, rusted gate that led deeper into the maze of forgotten streets. As they turned the corner, the scream rang out again, chillingly close. This one sounded desperate, pleading for help. "Please. Somebody help." The voice was small, breaking and filled with terror. Ava halted. Her gut twisted. "It's definitely coming from up ahead, let us go." They moved with urgency, pushing through the sharp edges of fear clawing at their hearts. They reached a small backyard where a little girl was backed against the peeling wall, her face streaked with dirt and tears. She looked up at them wide-eyed, trembling in the dim light. "Help me!" she cried again, glancing over her shoulder as if something terrible lurked behind her. Ava rushed forward. "What happened? What's wrong?" "They're chasing me." The girl sobbed, her tiny hands grasping onto Ava's sleeves. "They want to take me away." A chill coiled around Ava's spine. Who are they?" "From the council, I saw them. They took my brother. He's gone." Mia gasped, her hands covering her mouth in shock. Leo clenched a fist, anger flaring in his eyes. This was bigger than they had imagined. This was no longer just about secrets buried in shadows. Ava's heart thudded painfully in her chest. "We have to help you." "Where did they take him?" "I don't know." The girl wept, her voice breaking. "I was hiding, then I heard noises, and they came for him. They said they would make me disappear too." As Ava knelt to comfort her, a rustle from the edge of the yard made everyone freeze. A figure stepped out of the shadows, tall and menacing. It was one of the hooded figures they had seen earlier, eyes glinting with malice. "I believe you're searching for something," the figure said, their voice smooth, yet filled with threat. The darkness around them seemed to ripple, as if alive, ready to close in. "Run!" Ava shouted, grabbing the girl's hand and yanking her away from the figure. They surged forward, adrenaline coursing through them. The alley opened back onto the street, but Ava felt the pressure of time tightening around them. "We have to go to the community center. It's south, the only safe place we can warn others," she said, glancing back to see the figure still staring, unmoving, ominous, waiting to strike. Leo nodded, determination overtaking fear. "But we can't let them get the girl. We'll protect her." They raced toward the center, the girl's small hand in Ava's tightly gripping, her heart pounding alongside theirs. Yet, as they turned a final corner, Ava spotted a vehicle idling nearby, familiar ominous shapes lurking inside. "Get down!" she yelled, dropping to the ground just as lights flashed, blinding them momentarily. As the pounding of feet approached, confusion gripped Ava. "What is happening?" she whispered, fear creeping back in, mingling with the haunting screams echoing in her memory. Secrets were unraveling, and danger was closing in. They had stepped into a world darker than they could have imagined, one where lives hung in the balance. What would they uncover once they reached the community center? And would it be too late to save the children caught in the council's web? Ava barely had time to catch her breath before the reality of their precarious situation slammed into her like a punch to the gut. Heart racing, she felt the grip of the girl's hand tighten around hers as footsteps thundered behind them. Panic shot through her. The figure from the shadows was closing in, and she could hear the eerie whispers of the council's minions carried on the wind, a chilling promise of what awaited them. "Keep running!" Leo shouted, his voice rising above the clamor. They darted down the sidewalk, weaving through other desperate souls who moved unknowingly in the opposite direction, blissfully unaware of the horrors that hunted in the darkness. Buildings loomed overhead, stark and menacing, as though they were witnesses to the chaos unfolding below. The community center was just ahead, its faint lights flickering like a beacon of hope and perhaps a last refuge. But would it be enough? As they approached the doors, Ava could hear the girl's muffled sobs next to her, each gasp for breath painting a vivid portrait of fear. "What's your name?" she asked, desperate to create a lifeline amidst the gathering storm. "Ellie," the girl managed to choke out, running to keep pace. "Listen, Ellie," Ava said firmly, her voice steady despite the whirlwind of terror inside her. "We're going to get you safe. Just keep holding my hand." A loud crash echoed behind them. Leo turned briefly and his face blanched as a shadow, dark and twisted, spilled out from the alley they had just fled. "Hurry!" he yelled. They burst through the glass door of the community center, slamming it shut just in time to hear the sound of feet skidding to a halt outside. For a fleeting second, they were safe. The trio collapsed against the wall, breathing heavily, attempting to collect their fragmented thoughts. "What do we do now?" Mia asked, her expression a mixture of fear and resolve. "We need to call the police, warn the others," Leo replied, his face hard with determination, but as they scanned the interior, they were greeted not only by the warm glow of lights, but the terrified faces of other kids huddled together, whispers of confusion mixed with dread. Ellie flinched at the sight, stepping back as memories crashed over her like waves. "No. They'll take us all," she screamed, a primal fear cutting through the air. "It's okay," Ava soothed, kneeling in front of her. "You're safe with us." But just as she reached for the nearest phone, a loud bang echoed against the community center's heavy doors, sending shivers racing down her spine. The loud knocking grew frantic, punctuated by the chilling sound of voice calls from outside. "We know you're in there." A sinister voice rang out, cold and commanding. "You can't hide forever. Open the door, and no one gets hurt." Ava's blood ran cold. "They're already here." Her fists clenched, pulse quickening. A flicker of doubt crossed her mind. What if they couldn't protect this child? Leo's expression turned serious. "We're not letting them take anyone. We have to find another way out." The pounding intensified, a countdown that felt urgent and terrifying. The kids inside began to murmur, panic knitting their brows. "Wait," Mia said suddenly, stepping back from the door. "What if they're not here for us? What if they're after Ellie?" All eyes turned to the trembling girl, her small frame appearing smaller than ever against the chaos surrounding them. "Ava, is there a back exit?" Leo urged. How could they know? Ava thought aloud, her mind racing. Unless the revelation hung heavy in the air. The urgency propelled them forward. Time was running out. "Ellie, do you?" Ava started, but a frantic knock cut her off. "What do you remember about your brother?" I can't. I don't know." "Please, don't let them get me." Suddenly, the pounding stopped. Silence swelled around them. A chill swept the room as they waited, hearts pounding in their chests, eyes darting toward the door. Then, a soft voice broke the stillness, carrying ominous command. "If you want to keep Ellie safe, you should come outside. It's your only choice." Ava's throat tightened. What choice did they have left? She exchanged fearful glances with Leo and Mia, hesitation clawing at her resolve. In that moment, the tension ruptured. Would they risk everything to save Ellie? Or would they dare to negotiate with dark intentions? Ava stood, trembling, but resolute. We're getting answers one way or another. Let us move. The room buzzed with tension as Ava scanned the wide-eyed faces of the kids surrounding her. They were all so young, barely older than Ellie. She felt the weight of their fear, a palpable energy that wrapped around her like a vice. Yet, even with the threat looming, it was Ellie's quivering figure that pulled her focus. Stay close, Ava whispered to the girls as she turned toward the back of the community center. With Leo beside her, they crept cautiously toward a narrow corridor that led deeper into the building. The pounding at the front door resumed with brutal intensity. Each hit reverberated through her bones, a relentless reminder that they were running out of time. Why are they after you, Ellie? Leo asked, keeping his voice low but urgent. I don't know. She sobbed, tears streaking her dusty cheeks. I just wanted to find my brother. I thought I could find him here. Please, don't let them take me. Ava's heart twisted. A brother? Was he involved with the council? She pushed open a door at the end of the corridor, revealing an empty storage room. Dust danced in the air, illuminated by a single flickering bulb. It felt dark, claustrophobic. The threat outside felt less real here, almost as if they could catch their breath before the next wave of terror crashed against them. We can barricade the door here, Ava suggested, glancing at the stacks of chairs and old boxes cluttered against the walls. Are you sure they won't find us? Mia asked, her voice trembling slightly. There's no way they know we're back here, Leo said, scowling. We keep quiet, and we've got a chance. Ava nodded, directing Ellie to the corner of the room where the shadows gathered. She needed her to feel safe, even for just a moment. But as they moved chairs against the door, Ava couldn't shake the feeling that they were in over their heads. The chaos outside felt like a beast ready to pounce, and her heart raced painfully against her ribcage. A sudden crash echoed down the corridor, followed by the unmistakable sound of footsteps. The hairs on Ava's arms stood on end. They're here. She hissed, panicking. Ava dragged Ellie behind a stack of boxes, shushing her as their breaths mingled in fear. A moment stretched like an eternity, all they could hear was the pounding of their hearts and the oppressive silence outside. Then came the voices, low and conspiratorial, seeping through the cracks of the door. Search every corner, a new, authoritative voice commanded, one Ava had never heard before. She has to be here. Find her. What if we don't? Another voice replied, unsure. What if she's look around? We don't leave until we have her. Deals were made. Ava's heart sank. Deals? They weren't just after Ellie, they were after something bigger. Something dark. She turned to Leo and Mia, determination surging through her veins again. We have to figure out what is going on, she whispered fiercely. But just then, the door rattled violently as a body slammed against it. The barricade held for now, but Ava felt the dread swell inside her. Help! Someone help us! Ellie cried out, her fear a raw edge in the room. Ellie, no! Ava hissed. You can't. Another loud bang sent them reeling back, and the door shuddered ominously. We don't have much time. Leo shouted, the panic clawing at his chest. We need a plan. Ava felt her breath hitch. There was no way out, no easy escape this time. It was the precipice, and they were teetering on the edge. What could they do? Suddenly, the sounds outside began to fade, abruptly silencing. Had they finally moved on? Hope flickered, but she couldn't shake off an uneasy feeling that something far worse was about to unfold. As they held their breath in the thick, charged air, the shadow of a figure darkened the narrow gap beneath the door. A chill shot through Ava, and she realized with growing horror that the whispers were returning. Now you've made your choice, a voice slithered, echoing ominously through the dark. What choice? Ava whispered, her heart sinking lower with every word. The realization crushed her. The council would never let Ellie go. And whatever held them here was all part of a game far beyond their understanding. They were just pawns, each move orchestrated in the shadows. A deep murmur continued on the other side, then a soft laughter, sick and twisted. Ava's resolve hardened. They had to fight for answers, to find Ellie's brother, and to uncover the truth behind the council's darkness. But was that possible? As the door began to crack slowly open, an icy breeze cutting through the room, Ava felt the weight of peril cling to her skin. Were they ready for whatever lay hidden just beyond that threshold? On three, she whispered, her heart thundering again. We stand together. But as the hinges groaned, Ava wondered if they would ever see dawn again, or if this was the end of their story. Ava's heart raced as she gripped the makeshift barricade tighter, a flood of determination washing over her. The door rattled again, the sound filling her with an urgency she couldn't ignore. We have to be ready, now. She hissed to Mia and Leo, who nodded with a fear that mirrored her own. In a split second, the door swung open, and darkness poured into the room like smoke, engulfing them. A figure stepped through the threshold, shadowy and imposing, one of the council members. Panic ignited in Ava's chest, but she took a deep breath, channeling every ounce of courage she possessed. You don't have to do this. Ava shouted, stepping forward, her voice strong despite the tremors in her body. This is not what you want. The figure halted, surprise flickering across their face. You think you can stop what has already begun? Your little project has become a thorn in our side, and now, it's time to end it. Leo clenched his fists, standing protectively in front of Ellie, whose wide eyes echoed the fear that gripped everyone. We won't let you take her or anyone else. In that moment, something shifted. Ava felt a surge of strength from the children around her. They had to stand together, no matter how impossible the odds felt. You underestimate us. We're fighting for our community, for every child here. The figure took a step back, confusion playing across their features. You think your community will rise behind you? They sneered. Chaos flickered in their eyes, a mix of anger and something akin to respect. Watch us, Ava declared firmly, every word emerging from a place deep within her, igniting the flames of their shared courage. We have voices, and we will be heard. Footsteps echoed in the corridor behind them, more figures rapidly approaching, the sound growing stronger. Ava turned to the others, urgency rippling through her. We need to get them out. We don't have much time. Follow my lead. Leo called, rushing to the window at the back of the room. He flung it open, his movements swift and assured. Out this way. Ava grabbed Ellie's hand, glancing back at the hulking figure who appeared taken aback. You're making a mistake. They yelled, rage bubbling beneath the surface. But Ava's thoughts were already racing ahead, the plan unfolding in her mind. If they could create a distraction, maybe they could slip away unnoticed. Mia, get the chairs. She shouted, her mind racing against the clock. Chaos erupted as Mia piled the chairs, and Ava felt adrenaline course through her veins. As the door creaked and more figures entered, Ava's heart thundered. Now. With a swift motion, they lunged toward the window, Ellie going first, followed closely by Leo and Mia. Ava clambered after them, desperation propelling her forward. The moment they tumbled into the cool night air, a wave of freedom swept over her. Run! Ava shouted, glancing back to see the shadowy figures swarming into the room, confusion painting their faces as they registered the escape. The night felt electric, crackling with possibility. They darted down the alley, breathless and exhilarated. Behind them, shouts erupted, but Ava refused to slow down. Each stride felt liberating, the weight of their community's hopes propelling her forward. As they reached the street, Ellie turned, tears streaming down her face, half joyful, half terrified. What about my brother? She cried, her small voice cracking. Ava faltered, the weight of reality hitting her like a wave. We will find him, Ellie. I promise. In that moment, Ava saw clarity sparkle in the girl's wide, hopeful eyes, a flicker they hadn't seen before. Together, Ava added firmly, determination sparking within her. They continued to run, adrenaline fueling their limbs, until they reached the community center again. It stood, a beacon against the night, its flickering lights offering warmth and shelter. As they rushed inside, Ava felt the energy shift. Families already gathered, worried eyes searched for answers, and children clung to their parents, whispers of fear weaving through the air. "We need to tell everyone what is happening," she exclaimed. "Yeah," Leo chimed in, "they need to understand what is at stake." Ava stepped forward, her voice clear and steady. "We just faced something horrifying tonight. Things are happening, and we can't let the council divide us. We need to support each other." A murmur of agreement spread through the crowd. People began to nod, some whispered between themselves, raising voices of unity, and it felt almost surreal. Ava glanced at Mia, who stood tall beside her, determination cemented in their shared mission. "Ellie, are you ready?" Mia asked softly, and the girl nodded, though her face still bore the shadows of fear. Their mission went from whispers to fierce declarations of the truth, community bonds strengthening like the roots of a tree, twisted yet unyielding. It dawned on Ava this wasn't just about her anymore, it was about every single individual ready to support each other. "Meet here every week," Ava suggested, her heart hammering in her chest. "We can share stories, our struggles, and our ideas. Everyone deserves a voice." And the crowd erupted with a fervor of approval. Parents nodded, tears of admiration glistening in their eyes. Children cheered, echoing the resilience that ignited in that room. Ava looked around, sparked with a sense of purpose. "Together, we can take a stand. We won't let fear dictate our lives any longer. We stand for our children, for Ellie. We stand for hope." As powerful affirmations rang out, unite under those flame-lit words, she felt it a collective heartbeat of change. Strength coursed through them, fueled by stories they would share and lives they would lift. As twilight deepened, Ava caught Ellie's eye, a silent promise passed between them. They had unearthed hope from darkness, and that hope would guide them forward. The fight had just begun, but now they were ready, armed not only with voice but with unity. The road ahead was uncertain, but Ava felt a warmth spread through her. They could light up the darkness, break through the barriers, and thrive together. She was no longer just a girl from privilege, she was part of a community fighting for a brighter tomorrow, and in that flickering light, hope was reborn. So if you felt the fire tonight, if Ava's journey ignited your passion, you need to subscribe now. This is the moment to show your support. Don't miss any of our future stories. Smash that like button now to feed the algorithm and keep this momentum moving. Make yourself heard and flood the comments with your reactions and theories about Ava's journey. And for goodness sake, do not wait even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see the power of community. Together, we can write more stories that matter.